We have some potential trade news to talk about today. Both of these pieces of news actually came out yesterday before the game started, but since I had already uploaded yesterday, I figured it would be better to just wait till today and talk about this as my upload for the day. So the first bit of news is coming out of the New York Rangers organization regarding their 9th overall pick from the 2018 NHL draft, Vitali Kravtsov. This all started when Kravtsov did not make the New York Rangers opening night roster. They sent him down to the minors, and Kravtsov refused to report to the Hartford Wolfpack, which is the Rangers' American League affiliate. That is a pretty quick way to be on the outs with the team, and it seems like that is exactly what's taking place. Elliot Friedman tweeted out yesterday, hearing New York Rangers have given Vitali Kravtsov permission to contact other clubs in seek of a trade. Kravtsov did not make the opening day roster. If I was a New York Rangers fan, I would be pretty concerned by this because it's eerily similar to what happened with the Rangers' 2017 top 10 draft pick, Lias Andersson, who wound up being traded to the LA Kings for, I believe it was a second round pick. And when it comes to the trade value of Vitali Kravtsov, is he worth more than Lias Andersson was at the time he was traded? It's hard to say. There's no doubt in the world that Vitali Kravtsov has a ton of talent and a ton of skill. He was a 9th overall pick for good reason. However, he's still a relatively unproven player at pretty much every level. This past season, he split between the KHL and the NHL. He scored slightly below a half point per game pace in the 49 games he played in the KHL and only 4 points in the 20 NHL games he played for the Rangers. Now, in Vitali Kravtsov's defense, in those 20 games he played for the Rangers last season, he was only averaging close to 12.5 minutes a night. He didn't have any power play points. I'm not sure if he got looks on the power play or not, but all 4 of his points came at even strength. And I can understand why Vitali Kravtsov is frustrated with this situation, because this season was supposed to be the year he becomes a full-time NHLer for the New York Rangers, and I can't help but think if that whole Tom Wilson fiasco didn't happen, which led to the Rangers going out and getting guys like Ryan Reeves, Barclay Goodrow, Kevin Rooney, and Dryden Hunt, who are all on the opening day roster, I feel like if that didn't happen, Kravtsov probably would be in this lineup. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit there. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about that take. I'm really intrigued to see what happens with Vitali Kravtsov. He is by no means a bust at this point. He's 21 years old with 20 games of NHL experience. He still has a ton of room to grow, but I really can't see a team out there giving up a ton for Vitali Kravtsov in a trade when he is still relatively unproven and hasn't really put up world-beating numbers at any of the levels he played over the past couple of seasons. It's crazy to think that this is a prospect who a couple of months ago a lot of New York Rangers fans were saying he would be untouchable in a Jack Eichel trade. Now, is that because those Rangers fans are extremely biased and overhyping their prospects, or because he's actually a damn good prospect? Probably a little bit of both. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this situation though. Would you be a fan if your team went out and traded for Vitali Kravtsov? Me personally, as a Red Wings fan, I certainly wouldn't mind it if it didn't cost anything more than like a second round pick and a B-level prospect or something like that. Moving on now to the other bit of trade speculation we got yesterday, this coming out of the Blackhawks organization. Apparently Dylan Strome is drawing a lot of interest from other teams and is on the trade market. This was reported by Pierre LeBrun on Insider Trading. The name that's retaining attention around the league is Dylan Strome. There's some teams kicking tires on him, and I think there's a chance he's moved here over the next week or two. It's pretty wild to see just how far Dylan Strome's stock has fallen over the past couple of years. He got off to such a good start in Chicago after coming over from the Coyotes in that Nick Schmaltz trade. He had 51 points in his first 58 games with the Blackhawks. His numbers came down a little bit the following season, but they were still very respectable, very solid. And then last season, with Jonathan Toews being out for the entirety of the year, Kirby Dach being out for most of the season, Dylan Strome was expected to take a big leap, take on a much bigger role, and well, that just didn't really happen. Fast forward to now, and Dylan Strome is actually on the outside looking in of the Chicago Blackhawks opening night lineup. This tweet from Scott Powers, who's a writer for The Athletic Chicago, came on October 9th, so just a couple of days ago, like 3-4 days ago now. It gives you a good idea of Dylan Strome's current situation when it comes to the Blackhawks lineup. The tweet says, Colleton, who is the Blackhawks head coach, said he likes Borgstrom on the left wing of Dach and Hagel. On the fourth line, Colleton said Kara and Carpenter can play center, but he's open to putting a center on that line and having them as wings. That's where Entwistle, Gaudette, and Strome are competing for. So Dylan Strome, leading up to the Blackhawks' first game of the season, which is tonight against Colorado, was competing for a spot to play wing on the fourth line. And I don't believe he won a spot. Looking at dailyfaceoff.com's line projections for the Blackhawks tonight, there's no Dylan Strome to be found. So it definitely makes sense as to why we could see a Dylan Strome trade over the next week or two. If you're the Blackhawks, you do not want a 24-year-old centerman who's making $3 million this year to be in the press box every night. When it comes to Dylan Strome's trade value right now, I don't think it's nothing, even though he isn't on the Blackhawks Blackhawks opening night roster and was competing for a spot to play wing on the fourth line, when you look at his overall numbers with the Chicago Blackhawks, those offensive totals are pretty decent. He's got good finishing ability, decent play driver. Is he a defensive liability? Yeah, a little bit, but I think in the right role, Dylan Strome can definitely be a productive NHL player. He shouldn't be a guy that's a healthy scratch every game, that's for sure. And that's not me saying Chicago is stupid for keeping him out of the lineup. Obviously, Jeremy Colleton is going to do what's best for his team. He's going to put his team in the best position to win, and sometimes guys just fall out of favor with the coach or fall out of favor with the team, and it seems like that is what's happening in Chicago with Dylan Strome. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens there. One idea I did see thrown out there over the past 24 hours on Twitter is maybe a Vitali Kravtsov for Dylan Strome swap, reunite the Strome brothers in New York. That would be pretty interesting, but that is pretty much going to do it for this news video. I'm really interested to hear your guys' thoughts on both Dylan Strome and Vitali Kravtsov. What do you think those players' trade value is right now? If they are traded, what are some teams that you think would be a good fit for both of those players? All that kind of stuff. Leave your thoughts down below. And one last thing, I want to know what type of content you guys want to see from this channel this season. I'd like to do daily uploads, make news videos like this, and just if I ever want to talk about something, make a quick little video on it. I want to know what you guys think though, so again, when it comes to that, leave your thoughts down below.